Hey guys, it's Austin with Pickleball Playbook, and in this video I'm going to be sharing 3 of my very favorite advanced pickleball strategies. Now whether you're an advanced player or a beginner player or an intermediate player, you'll still be able to do these strategies. It just might take you a little bit longer to implement them if you're a beginner player or an intermediate player. Also, if you enjoy the channel and want to help to support it, be sure to subscribe and get yourself a Pickleball Playbook hat. We just barely came out with these. They come in the color khaki, blue, black, and gray. So you have a wide variety of options you can check out. I think that they turned out great. You guys can let me know what you think. But yeah, get yourself one if you want to help to support the channel, and let's hop into it. Strategy number 1 is really simple to understand, but it takes longer to be able to build the muscle memory to implement it when you're in a match. So what that strategy is you're going to open your paddle face towards the middle of the court whenever you move out wide towards the sideline. So since I'm righty, that's the example I'll be giving, but if I'm on the left side of the court, I'm gonna open my paddle face towards the right side of my paddle. As I move towards the sideline, this will help me to be able to react really quick to their speed up should they speed it up the line. So if I'm ever in a dink battle and I'm hitting the ball up the line, as soon as I hit that ball up the line, I can open my paddle face towards the inside of the court and shift towards the outside of the court. I can also do the exact opposite. And this is the strategy that you want to implement, is that you want to keep them guessing by doing the opposite and constantly changing it up. So my partner might hit a dink cross court directly in front of me to this player, who would be you guys right now, and I might shift towards the sideline and open towards my forehand side. Or my second option would be to shift towards the middle and open towards the backhand side of my paddle. So both of these are great strategies to implement, but you want to keep your opponents guessing because their entire goal is to catch you in a bad spot, which is probably going to be right at this right hip if you're a righty player, because that puts you in the chicken wing position. So if they know where to hit to every single time, then all that they have to do is continue hitting it to that spot. But if you change up where you're shifting to and to what side of the paddle you're putting your paddle to, they won't know where to hit the shot to. So someone that's a really good example of this is James Ignatowicz. He will be constantly changing the direction of where he's shifting to. He's not just 100% of the time holding it on his backhand side and shifting towards the middle. It's just a constant change up to keep his opponents guessing. So the only thing that you need to know is, first of all, you need to change it up, but second of all, you need to build the muscle memory so that it just becomes something that you don't even have to think about, where you automatically open up towards that side without even having to think about it twice. So the thing to remember is if you're shifting towards the sideline, you're opening it up towards the middle. So whether you're lefty or righty, I'm opening my paddle up towards the middle. If I'm shifting towards the middle, I'm opening my paddle up towards the sideline. And so you want to be constantly changing this up whenever the ball is out in front of you. Then when your opponents speed up the ball, you'll be able to guess right majority of the time. It's really just a great hack where you'll be able to guess right on where their speed up is going, because it'll make them have to guess on where they should speed up to. They're going to have to choose this side of your body or this side of your body. And if you shift towards this side and they go to this side of your body, it's going to be a really easy counter. Obviously, this can catch you up too, but the whole thing is that you're keeping them guessing. This will cause them to make many, many mistakes as you're shifting from side to side, to where they get to the point where they're like, I don't know where to attack this guy at. So remember those two things. You shift towards the sideline, you open it up towards the middle. You shift towards the middle, you open your paddle face up towards the sideline. This video is brought to you by the Pickleball Drills app. It's the #1 training app in all of pickleball. Basically how it works is just like how it sounds. It has tons of different drills to choose from. And the best part about it is that all of these drills have been created by professional pickleball players. So in it, you won't just get the drill, but you'll also get the tips and instruction from the best of the best. So pro players like Colin Schick, Judith Castillo, Jack Monroe, Zane Ford, and many, many others get on the app and they'll share those insights with you as you drill. And it's all according to your level. So whether you're a beginner player, it's your first time picking up a paddle, or you're an advanced player, it has drills and instruction that will help you take your game to the next level faster than anything else that I've experienced that's out there. I know that for me personally, drilling has been an absolute game changer, and specifically with the Pickleball Drills app, with these drills and this instruction, it helps you to have the correct technique and the correct strategy going into games after you've drilled. So instead, this helps you not only drill and get those reps in, but get those reps in the correct way and with the correct form and with the correct strategy. So check it out, I'll link it right here, and it's also in the top of the description of the video. A very common mistake that people make is that they drop the ball to get up to the net, and that's not necessarily the mistake, but they'll drop and then run up to the net as quickly as possible. The problem with that is you're automatically giving your position away So all that your opponents have to do, although you're applying a little bit of pressure by moving up, all that your opponents have to do is simply dink the ball and neutralize the point. So they just simply concede the kitchen because they know that you've made it up. So they're gonna dink that ball short and now you can't attack. So yes, you've made it forward to where all things are neutral, but there's a better strategy to implement majority of the time to keep your opponents guessing. That's really what strategy is all about. So instead, you're gonna drop this ball and then you're gonna slightly move forward but hang back. You recognize that it's a good drop by the fact that it's low over the net and you know where it's gonna land. It's not gonna be a ball that they'll be able to attack. So instead, you're gonna hang back a little bit. They're gonna recognize that you are hanging back. Whenever our opponents recognize that we're hanging back, their automatic assumption is to keep us back. So they're gonna be hitting that ball deep. This is great news for us because instead of us actually staying back, as soon as we see them begin their motion forward, we're gonna move forward into the court and take that next shot out of the air and instantly take advantage of the point. So this is a fantastic strategy to use no matter what level you're at. Your opponents are always gonna wanna keep you back. So we're just gonna be simply moving forward into the court right as soon as we see that they begin their motion forward. This is the only time that you can do it. Otherwise, you'll be giving away your position. So if I know that I'm hitting a good drop and I run forward and come all the way up to the kitchen, that really doesn't do anything. I can kind of hope that they pop up the ball, but they're not gonna pop up the ball 100% of the time. Whereas if I hang back, it's that low hanging fruit where it's like, oh, they don't think I'm coming. And then they begin their motion forward and I'm already forward into the court and I attack that next shot. Make sure that you're ready for the next ball. The ball tends to come back in pickleball, but that will set you up for point after point after point. That said, that doesn't mean that we're doing this 100% of the time. Really, when we're dropping the ball, a large portion of the time, not 100% of the time, we want to be getting up to the net as quickly as possible. As soon as we recognize it's a good drop, we sprint up to the net as fast as a Ferrari, and then we want to be able to stop on a dime right here so that we can then neutralize the point and begin the point. We want to get up to the kitchen as quickly as possible. That said, it's a fantastic changeup to use this strategy to drop the ball, hang back, then run forward and attack. You can also implement this same exact strategy when you're up on the kitchen line. Something you can do is take a couple of steps back, and this is what we see pro Annalie Waters do all the time. She'll be hitting her dinks from literally back here, like 3 steps off of the kitchen line. She'll be hitting her dinks, and then she hits a dink that's low enough that she knows is gonna cause a pop-up. So a lot of this comes down to recognizing, but you hit a dink, you know it's low enough, you see that your opponents are reaching, now you sneak in right when they hit. And since they're so used to dinking it to you 3 feet off of the line, this is gonna be an easy pop-up for you to be able to take out of the air. And almost 90% of the time you're gonna finish the point right there. If not, they'll get the ball back. It'll probably be a pop-up and then you can finish the point. So you can implement this same strategy in every single stage of the game. It doesn't just have to be at the drop. But essentially we're just baiting our opponents to get used to hitting to a certain shot. Their focus is to keep us back when we're back at the baseline. So we hang out at the baseline until they start their motion. Their focus when we're dinking is to just simply dink the ball to us, but then they're used to us being 3 feet off the kitchen line. So they get used to hitting that distance. But once I learned this strategy, I actually learned it from my friend, Tom Tueller, who's a really good senior pro. So he would hang back and then he'd pop forward, bam, and almost always put that ball away. So use both of these strategies. You're really baiting your opponents. You don't want to give away your position, okay? So we're in that constant cat and mouse with our opponents, making them feel like they're comfortable until, bam, the point's over. This next strategy has to do with when our opponents lob us. So the situation is where we're all up at the kitchen. Our opponents hit an offensive lob over our heads and we're running back to recover that lob. And this is where this strategy really comes into play because so many people make the mistake of thinking that this ball here, this lob, they have to hit a perfect drop instantly on it. And you really don't. All that you want to do is try to set yourself up for an easier drop. When we're running back, we're off balance and we're hitting the ball behind us. That's not a great opportunity to hit a drop at all, yet so many people do it. So instead what you want to do is either you have 2 options. Drive this shot so that you're getting it on your opponents as quickly as possible. You're catching them off guard. They're going to be late hitting the shot, and then they'll either pop up the ball or give you an easier shot to then drop. Or your second option is going to be to lob this ball up just to stay in the point. And specifically, you want to try to lob that ball up the middle of the court because it takes away your opponent's angles. So they won't be able to throw you off of the court with their angles. Whereas if you hit it to one side or the other of the court, they can then just simply hit this angle where it automatically hits the fence, the point's instantly over. So there's your second option. You're lobbing up this ball up the middle of the court, taking away their angles. And then you're just trying to stay in the point until you can get a drive that's going to set you up for a drop, or you get a ball that's nice and easy that you can then drop and move up to the kitchen. The drop, the whole point of it is so that we can move up to the kitchen, just like how we learned from the last tip. Now you can implement that same strategy that we learned from the last one into this one as well. When you hit that drop, kind of hang back and then run forward and attack that ball. But suffice it to say that we're not simply dropping this ball that's very difficult to drop and trying to get it perfect into the kitchen. This ball is our opportunity to stay in the point. So typically what you want to do is remember the phrase, we're going to drive, drop, transition. That's the entire point. Or we're going to lob, 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 drive, drop, transition. And so once I feel comfortable with the ball, that's my opportunity to drop, and then I'm going to be moving forward or hanging back like how we talked about before, moving into the court and getting back to a neutral position. So remember, this ball back here doesn't have to be perfect on the first shot, and nor should it be. If you're uncomfortable, don't try to hit a perfect shot. As soon as you are comfortable hitting the shot, then you can go for that perfect drop and get up to the kitchen. One quick tip with that, and this is one of the simplest ways that you can increase the consistency of your drops, is to pick a target above the net to hit to. A lot of players will pick a target on the court, and if you're trying to hit it into the kitchen, you're going to be picking that target in the kitchen to hit to. But the problem with that is that the net is in the way. It's totally covering your view of the kitchen. And so if you do that, chances are you're going to hit the ball into the net more often than not. Whereas if you pick a spot above the net, it'll automatically land in the kitchen regardless. That spot's anywhere from a foot to 2 feet above the net, it'll land inside the kitchen. So you have to experiment with it, figure out what target above the net you need to hit to get it consistently landing in the kitchen every single time. And then once you figure that out, you can hit to that target above the net every single time, and you'll alleviate, or you won't hit as many shots into the net as you did before, just by simply picking that target above the net. So it's super simple, and it's not something that people think about, but the brain's an amazing thing where it can automatically make that adjustment. So if you pick that spot above the net, your consistency will skyrocket. Remember the phrase, we're gonna drive, drop, and transition. We're not trying to hit a perfect drop on that initial shot.